Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited. I am finally going to be doing a review on the Conjuring collection from Dark and Glam Beauty. It took me a while to get all the pieces. There was some shipping issues. It wasn't their fault. It was the post office, but I did finally get them. And then I just haven't had time. So I'm going to open them up. I'll show you the insides. And then I've already swatched them all, so I will show you up close swatches, and we'll put some of the stuff on our face and see how it works. Okay, if you're new, welcome. Make sure you take a moment and hit that subscribe button. Okay, and we are going to jump in. So I did not buy the entire collection. There was two, I think they were liquid lipsticks. I wasn't 100% like if they were complete. I want a liquid lipstick that like dries down completely matte, and I did not know exactly what their formula was like, so I didn't get those. And then they did have it was a white sponge with a picture of the nun on it, so I did not get that. Currently the blush palette is sold out, but everything else is still in stock, so I will link them down below. And then you do have the option of putting in your email address to be notified when things go back in stock, so that when this is available again, because I'm assuming they're going to bring these pieces back if there's a demand. So let's look at the contour palette first. So we have, it just says the contouring on it. Dark and Glam Beauty presents. It kind of looks like a VHS cover. So we have the contouring. And then this, there are no shade names for the contours, but I do have them swatched out in order. So when you see those, they'll be swatched as they're laid out in the palette. Next we have Annabelle. It's Anna Blush. Again, their logo. And then these all had sleeves, but the sleeve is the same artwork as the cover, so I just took those off. So you have Annabelle, I Like Your Doll, Miss Me, and Possessed Dolls. So you have one highlight, which I don't know if I'll be able to wear that as a highlighter. I haven't tried any of this stuff on my face, but I'm thinking about mixing one of the blushes with the highlighter to make a shimmery blush, so we'll try that out when we get to the try on portion. But there are the blushes. And then last we have the Conjuring Universe. So this is the outside of the eyeshadow palette. And then there's no press glitters in this one. Some people are not a fan of press glitters. I have one other palette from this brand, and it is the Creepshow palette, and there is a press glitter in that, but their press glitter is nice. But you do get this white in here is a duochrome, and then the blue that's in here, Lorraine Warren, is very, very sparkly. So again, I will swatch all of, there's me. Let's hold it like this. And I'll go over the shade names, but there's a look at the palette. So this is really shimmery, like sparkly shimmery, and then this is also sparkly. This is the duochrome, and then you have a couple of traditional shimmers. There's a black, kind of metallic, I guess you would call it, rosary, and then there's a white. So this one, and that one are more what you would consider a traditional shimmer, old school shimmer formula, the bunch of mattes, and then the really like two sparkly shades, but no press glitters in this. So let's jump into the swatches, and then we'll do a look. Okay, there are the swatches of the contour palette. There are the swatches from the blush palette with I Like Your Doll is the highlighter, and then Annabelle, Miss Me is that mauve shade, and Possessed Doll. And there are swatches of the palette, starting with the black is the Nun, La Llorona. The blue is Ed Warren. The shimmery blue is Lorraine Warren, Annabelle, Valak. That light pink is Prayers. Red, The Crooked Man. Hide and Clap is the purple. The Conjuring is the brown. Rosary, the metallic pink. The Bride is the shimmery white, kind of duochrome. Maltheus is the metallic black. The Ferryman is the green, and then we have Bathsheba in the... Okay, so I brought you in closer for the look. We're gonna do this in the order that I would put the stuff on my face. Now I have foundation and concealer, and I tried to keep the powder kind of centrally because I don't know how this formula does on top of powder. So I'll powder a little bit on top of it after I apply it, and then I'll do a powder bronzer, just because that's how I would wear it normally. And then we'll do the blush and an eyeshadow look. I'm not going to go super in depth with the eyeshadow look. It's not a tutorial per se, just kind of see how the products work. And then if you want a more in-depth tutorial, please let me know. But I brought you in closer. Hopefully the lighting is okay. I haven't gotten my lights out. This is a new setup. That video should already be up on my channel if you want to see how I did this. I do have actual lights. Right now we're just using overhead for now, so hopefully the lighting isn't atrocious. So let's look at the contour. I have a brush. Don't know if it's clean. Probably not. Okay, make sure I don't have any residual. And then for powder, I will do the powder. I'll show you what I'm going to do for the powder bronzer. I did pull out a drugstore. We're just going to do Makeup Revolution. I was going to bring my Milani. This is a little bit more of a cooler tone shade, so we're going to go with that. And then I'll powder and do the rest of that stuff off camera. But okay, so here's a closer look at the contouring palette. And then again, there are no shade names on these. I'm going to use this lightest brown, and then you do have a cream shade. This is a little bit stiffer of a formula. I don't know if waxy is the right word, but I'm going to go in just with my finger and tap a little bit on just to warm. I'm hoping my finger, and it would probably help if I brought, I'm going to put my mirror right there so it's not too far in the frame, but I figured maybe going in with my finger, because you could go straight in with your brush. I'll have to play around with this, but just first time trying it, I was thinking maybe my finger, because this is a little bit drier, stiffer, whatever you want to call it, maybe using my finger would help warm it up a little bit. I look a little bit washed out, and again, it's the lighting. I am going to bring my studio lights back in. I just haven't gotten that far yet, and I was excited to film this, so I apologize. But the lighting on this side of my face is going to be okay. And then this is a, I don't even know what brush this is. This is a Baddington, like, contour brush. I've had this for a while. I got it in, I think, a BoxyCharm. I have a smaller one too that I got in a subscription box that I like for contour, but this is generally the one that I will use both for cream and for powder contour. And then I go in with just a fluffier brush for some shimmery bronzer. I will say initially, like, this is blending out. It doesn't, I'll have to pull my mirror in here in a second. It doesn't appear that it's disturbing, like it's not pulling the foundation up underneath, because sometimes that can happen when the formula is drier. It'll just lift, but it does not appear, at least from what I can see, that it's doing that, so that's good. And then I like to go in with either a matte cream contour and then a more shimmery bronzer, or a powder matte contour and then a shimmery. That's just the way I like to apply it. That's a pro tip that I learned taking makeup classes years ago. So you do not have to go in with a powder bronzer on top of it. That's just, I'm doing it the way I would. Does not seem like it lifted anything underneath. I said, could be blind. There's a little bit of patchiness right here, and that's just because I'm wearing a tinted moisturizer and some concealer, so it has nothing to do with anything. It just, some of my redness on my cheeks is showing through, but we're going to put blush on that. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to finish powdering put my bronzer on and then we'll come back and do blush. So I did put some highlighter on too, only because I do highlighter before blush. I just think it gives me a better blend. So we're gonna go in. This highlighter looks like it's a little bit dark for me. I'm really fair. I sometimes will do a darker highlight, but I'm thinking these are all matte blushes, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna mix a little highlighter in the blush to see if we can do like a shimmery blush. So I'm gonna go in with the highlighter in I Like Your Doll, and then just the Miss Me shade, the most wearable color. So we've got a hot pink and a berry shade. So we do, you can see some of the glitter in there. So let's pray here. It's a pretty highlighter, like it swatches pretty. But I don't know if, sometimes I'll go in with a little bit darker. Some of my foundations are a tad darker than my skin tone. And then I like to take a little bit of blush up here in my temples. And then we'll do the other side. This seems pretty pigmented. I'm gonna move this a little bit closer just because, like I said, the lighting in here is atrocious, so I need to maybe finish fixing that. It's been a while since I've taken my lights out, so my husband may have to help me. I don't know if I remember, but I like the color of this, and I'm going in super light, so if you're thinking that it's not pigmented, it's just because I'm like barely tapping into it, just because I don't want it to go. It's pigmented. It is blendable, but yeah, I did want to go overboard. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that I applied too much blush, but, and then I do like the blush on the nose just because of how fair I am. Yeah, the lighting in here is so bad. Let's go on this side. That's better. I can see better on this side. Okay. Yeah, it's pigmented. I'm just barely tapping in. Making sure we're even here on both sides. So I think that's pretty. And then I'm going to go in a little bit more setting spray. I sprayed it before I did the highlighter. So, okay, let me put some eyeshadow primer on and we'll try out the eyeshadow. Okay, I brought you in even closer and I did prime my eye. I like the Gerard Clean Canvas, but you can use a concealer. You can use whatever eyeshadow primer you like or no primer. And then I do have a color switch to clean off my brushes. And then I just have an assortment of brushes. Again, this isn't going to be a tutorial, so I'm not going to stop and I'll show you what shades I'm using, but I'm not going to stop and go into a whole lot about what I'm doing. I want to go into the black in the shade of the Nun, just to see how the black is. And then I'm thinking I want to use the Ferryman, which is the green. I like to go in with the black first, especially if I'm not sure on formula, just because that's the closest to the primer, so you're gonna get the most pigmentation out of it. I have the Creepshow palette and I have used that, but that's the only other palette that I've used, so I don't know. You would hope that the formula would be consistent with other palettes, but that's not always the case. So when in doubt, and I do like when I'm doing color sometimes to do more dramatic, and again, the black is going to give you the drama. So now we're going to go into the Ferryman, which is this khaki green shade. I don't know, I just liked that. The other shade I was looking at was the Annabelle, the hot pink, but we'll just keep it a little more neutral. Bring my mirror in a little bit more. Again, just because the lighting in here is so bad, I can't see what I'm doing. And then my eyeball hurts. I decided to try and put my contacts in with super glue on my hands. I don't think I got the wet super glue in my eye, but Definitely got like dried super glue in my eye. So this eye hurts a little bit. Did I take my contacts out? Nope, I sure didn't. It feels better now, but my eye's a little sore, like down in here. I am super blind, so with my glasses on, the mirror would have had to been like this close, and I really, really wanted to get this filmed. I'm super excited that I got my area set up, and so sacrifices. If I felt like I had gotten like actual super, like the wet super glue in my eye, I would have taken the contacts out. But, and again, I'm not tapping, like digging in super hard, but I do like how this is blending, and I feel like it's going into that black, and I'm not tapping in super hard. I didn't want to go overboard. This is definitely an eclectic mix of colors, but I like that they're like, it's not just a neutral palette. It's not just like, it's a colorful palette, but you have some neutral shades. So you can do a bunch of different stuff. I like, the purples and the pinks, like all the assortment. That would be the word. And the green is blending out really nicely. So I think I'm just going to do those two shades. And then La Llorona, which is a more shimmery white, I'm going to go on this other brush just for under the brow bone up in here. I like to do kind of a shimmery under the brow bone. And then I'll take just a little bit more of the green just to make sure that it's blended up into that shade, but super easy. And then I think I'm going to do the shimmery white on the lid. I am going to use some glitter glue only because that's how I do every shimmer. So we're going to take a little bit more of the black right here on the lid. And then take this brush. It's a little bit smaller. And then I'm going to go back into that green. Put that next to the black to blend out that edge. And then we'll put the shimmer on. There we go. I feel like that's got a good blend. Okay. So we have glitter glue. I'm one of those, I don't like wetting my brush because I've messed up eyeshadow. It's, this was years ago, but it gave me like PTSD with wetting the brush. So I just use glitter glue with everything, every shimmer, good, bad, in between. So it's going to give you the most impact, and it gives you staying power. I used to work like 16, I didn't work 16-hour days. I worked like 11-hour days, and then, I had my makeup on for 16 hours when I worked in the salon. So it also, I got in the habit because it gives you more longevity. So the Bride is right here, and it's very soft. And this is probably, there's a little bit of a base. I'll go in with my finger here. There we go. And then I'll take the brush a little bit closer. This doesn't have much of a base, which is nice. So you could put this on top of, like I'm bringing it over any of the colors in the palette to kind of transform them and make them sparkly, which is nice. The blue, the sparkly blue, Lorraine Warren has more of a colored base, which you could totally something on that. I think leftover glitter glue, like flaked off. I don't think it was anything in the eyeshadow. I think it was because my brushes aren't clean. Okay, and then I don't know, because like we have, like this is a shimmer. I use the like more traditional shimmer. You have Rosary, and then this Malthus. Let me take a little bit of this, like charcoal color up in here. There we go. I got that piece off finally. Okay, and then tap in here. just so that there's kind of a blend and not just a line where it stops. I'm trying to think. Bathsheba is kind of a sequence shade, so I don't, like, that's not going to be an inner corner either. I think I'm just going to use my highlighter for inner corner, just so that there's some contrast between the lid and what we just did. And then I have a brush. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of glitter, like flaky fallout, but this is very shimmery. So if that bothers you, definitely do your eyes first. And then on the bottom, I think I'm just going to be boring and maybe use, let's see, Valak. It's kind of a plum. We could do Valak and then maybe a little bit of Bathsheba to blend. We'll see. Let's go in with a little bit of Valak on this outer part here. I'm somebody that generally likes to do shimmer on the bottom, only because my eyes are very watery. And then let's go in. There's stuff stuck to me. The Bathsheba. With these sequence shades, I found that once you start blending them, the glitter tends to go away, so you can just treat them like a matte. And then I just have my makeup towel here too. I'm just going to wipe that off. And then I'm going to just do a little bit. We'll do a little bit of the green underneath that for some cohesive. Okay. So I'm going to finish the other eye off camera and I'll show you the finished look. Okay, so this is the finished look. I was going to put lashes on, but my eye kind of hurts a little bit. So I just did mascara and that's it. And I didn't put anything in the waterline down below. But so far, I like everything. Everything blended. Let me know if you want to see some more looks with this palette. I could definitely do like a 2 or 3 look one palette video. If you want to see a more in-depth tutorial, if there's some specific shades you want me to do a look with, let me know. I can definitely do that, but I didn't have any trouble blending with the contour palette. I think this blush shade looks nice. I like that the pink that's in the blush is similar to the pink Annabelle eyeshadow shade, so you can kind of do a monochromatic look. That's fun. So I may do more pinky look if I do another look with this palette. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Again, make sure you are subscribed if you are not already. And hopefully I will see you in another video very, very soon. Bye, everybody.